All right, we got 5 minutes here with Matt Field, Formula Drift driver and business owner. And just want to take a few minutes and ask him about what's been going on with his life. And where I want to start this is back in 2012. I really feel like for people who watch you that they can see that moment that you raced Daigo Saito at Irwindale in 2012 was a real turning point in your career. Take us back to 2012. Tell us how that really did influence the direction you were going with your team.
In 2012, it was the second year with this car, and we were doing good. Everything was, kind of falling into its place, and we were learning more than anything. But the big thing that we were lacking was horsepower. We were just underpowered since day one. Like, I have never, up until Irwindale, gone to Formula D with any kind of decent power. And it's funny to think now, because decent power then was when I made 550 horsepower at Irwindale. We added nitrous on the car before Irwindale, and that was the biggest difference in the world. That was the turning point more than anything. It gave me the confidence, and it gave me the ability to do with my car what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be closer to the wall. I've always wanted to be closer to the person, but I just physically couldn't. So it was a tool that allowed me to do what I needed to do. And kind of going against Daigo, and I was pumped when I got to go against Daigo, actually, which was good. I tried to push the fear out of my mind and stay focused and have a good time with it, and I did. And more than anything, I think that's the confidence booster that has kind of shown through this year. Was it the confidence that you think kind of allowed you to control your adrenaline in that moment? I will say that since last year, since knowing that I can do what I've wanted to do with my car and actually perform how I want to perform internally, it calms me down. I've qualified better consistently this year. I mean, we've qualified top 16 nearly every single round. Well in the top 16, we got a third place qualifying this year. We got our first podium this year. So it really has given me the ability to kind of mellow out and pick my battles. Because, no longer do I have to drive 100% every single round, every single run, and hope that the car makes it and hope that I don't crash. I found the line, and because I have so much horsepower now, and because the car has gone that much further with my driving, it feels like a little bit easier to control and a little bit easier to do what I want to do.
So control is a huge factor when it comes to that, and being able to control it in those little tiny moments makes the difference.
Huge difference. It was funny, we were talking about it last night, because my motor is sitting over there, ripped out of this car, ready to get rebuilt. And before, with 400 horsepower, like I was doing the seasons before, before this year, it was like a sailboat. I explained it like a sailboat. Like literally, like at Irwindale, for example, I had 400 horsepower, I would throw it into the inner bank, I would throw it as hard as I possibly could, stay on the gas as long as I possibly could, and if I made it out to the wall, great, I scored a good point, I did a good line. If I go too deep, I don't have the power to dig myself out, and I'm crashing. Utter failure, go home, your weekend's over. So it was literally like a sailboat. I just throw it in there and hope that it sticks and hope that I make it out to where I want to make it. Now, the car is so much better than it's ever been. I can drive it out to the wall. I can put it on the wall. I can put it right up on somebody's quarter panel and not worry about it. And the car has given me the ability to do that.
Well, in a high-impact environment like Formula Drift, you really are, well, how do you put it, kind of, you're not easy on parts.
Especially not me, definitely.
It seemed like more than once this year you guys were thrashing in the pits. Talk about when that does happen, like during qualifying or even particularly during eliminations, when you do have something epic like that happen, how do you recover from that?
It's funny because like even in our Texas, at Texas with our podium, I smashed into Robbie in top 8 or whatever, and we had to fix the front of my car. It kind of knocked it out of alignment a little bit, knocked the front bumper off, had to fix stuff like that. And that just shows how good of a team that you have to have behind you, because I literally get out of the car and instantly you have to do an interview like, oh, you won, that's great, now we want to talk to you. So no matter how bad the car is, you have to do your interview, no matter how much work you have to do. So you have to rely on the guys to do it. And we've really built my car in a way that anything that happens in a normal drift accident, there's nothing we shouldn't be able to fix and find. Obviously, bigger impacts, you go into the wall, stuff like that. There's stuff that needs to be done and some stuff that needs to be cut out, but there's really not a whole lot left on the car that's not replaceable, I guess.
Oh yeah, and speaking of things that are quickly fixed or quickly replaceable, your poor wing seems like it may have taken the most abuse of any part on any car all season long. As a matter of fact, at Irwindale, I even saw your dad throwing some fiberglass at it. I mean, how important is the wing to your run? I mean, does it look like with the repairs they were making, it may be something that you kind of count on?
Yeah, definitely. More than anything, it's probably a mental thing for me. It probably is. But I'll definitely say when I went into the wall at Washington and my wing flew off and smacked Robbie Nishida in his windshield, that the next run, probably the car was a little bent, probably was me being a little too worked up, but I went into the wall, and when I went into the wall, I was foot to the floor just like I normally would be around the bank, holding it up the bank, and the car kept sliding up the bank and sliding up the bank and sliding up the bank. And I knew I was going to go in, but I was just holding on for dear life because there was nothing. I felt that there was nothing that I could do. No matter what I did, I was sliding up the wall too quickly. And with the wing, I don't feel that. So it's a big deal. That's why when I shredded and cheese grated on the fence in qualifying before top 32 run or before the next practice time or whatever we have to do, we try to get it back full, as good as possible at least. I think more than anything, the wing is for looks, the end plates are for performance.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this awesome place that we're standing in right now, Drift Cave.
Thank you.
Drift Cave. So no just Drift Cave. So talk to us about getting this place started and what you guys do here.
So before it was me and two buddies, me and Ryan Bell and Jeff Wolfson, and we were just a couple buddies, needed a place for our own personal drift cars. So we did that. We got this spot, worked on our own cars, and Jeff's kind of doing his own thing. He got his Formula D license. He's going to be running it, so he needs to focus his efforts on running his own program, which is totally respectable. And our other buddy Ryan is finishing school and getting a real job growing up. So they kind of moved out and moved on, and I've been looking for a place, looking for another place to move out, and we just decided to stay here. So we spent probably a solid week cleaning this place out, getting it reorganized, putting up pallet racks, trying to make it into not just a couple of friends building their own personal drift cars into something that we're now open for business kind of thing. So we got the business license, got the reseller's license, and we're trying to do it, and trying to make money and provide for a team and have the Formula D car be the reason why we're all here, but we're all able to make money because we're also running a business out of it. So me and my guys are working at it, staying at it hard, late nights, building some cars. We have an S15 that we're building in the pipeline. We're finishing up Charles Ng's car, so it's cool. We have stuff lined up, and something even cooler, my buddy Chris Mills, he's kind of been my little prodigy since I found him as a little drift kid smashed into the wall up on Calaveras and the mountain roads, and he's now got his Formula D license, and he's moved into our shop, and he's building his car at our shop, so it's going to be cool. It's a shop full of Nissans with LS's with tons of horsepower, so how can you go wrong?
That's awesome. Great. Well, we wish you a whole lot of luck in 2014, and we'll be watching closely, and hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up as the season goes on.
Awesome.
Matt Field, everybody, thanks for taking the time, buddy.
Thank you.